The game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Has kind of gotten pretty fucking dry over the last couple of weeks. As we're heading towards a banless season, I've been looking to the Zodiac tournament to kind of spicing up my sex life, as we're going to say for this video. I will say this. Innovation and creativity is kind of what you make of it. Whether or not it's some crazy build that somebody is testing or something interesting that kind of catches your attention. And that's what I look for in these matchups. You know, players that play meta or something spicy that takes a quick 2-0 victory over another meta deck. I think a lot of people, they kind of get discouraged by these things. You know, we're so far down the Goki rabbit hole at this stage that people kind of forget there are other decks out there that, once again, can steal that quick victory from players. And this is one of those primary examples, you know. If you tend to forget that a deck exists in the format, when that deck shows back up and you're like, what the fuck happened? Well, you know, you're going to cry yourself to sleep. You know, True Draco's been one of those decks that kind of evolves with the times. You know, we've gone from the Metatron builds that special summon from the extra deck, wanting to take advantage of things like that. I mean, having a 3,300, or was it? No, it's 3,000 that's unaffected by monsters, spells, and traps. That's a big step in the right direction for a lot of people. You know, being able to develop that compensation for the loss of Masterpiece was, a lot of people felt the need to kind of latch on to that. But I think for the latter point in time, a lot of players became too attached to Metaltron, and they were like, oh, well, you have to play this and things like that. No, that's not the case. And we've seen that with a lot of different lists that have kind of shown up from True Draco, especially as we're heading into the next regional season here. You know, considering we're a couple of weeks, if not a month or so, away from a ban list at this point in time, when you're heading into next regional season or this regional season and you need something for a localized regional, True Draco might be something that you approach, because of just the very, I'm not going to say like bullshit interactions that you can cause with the deck, but the deck has a lot going for it that a lot of people have forgotten about. It's a very solid toolbox. It acts in the same way that Sky Strikers do. And honestly, this deck doesn't have a terrible Sky Striker matchup. Obviously, having Masterpiece would fix a lot of that, but, you know, hope in one hand, shit in the other. You don't necessarily get to have your cake and eat it too. So, there's that. So anyway, this is Ryan Ortiz deck list. This is the one that we had from the feature match the other day, that kind of took a few people like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. So I wanted to go ahead and profile this just because it's True Draco, kind of remind people that ratios and variations do exist, for you to kind of want to play this. So anyway, onwards and upwards. So, 2 copies of a Mono Wado. This is one of those, a lot of people have been on the 3 strict mentality of this. It's like you play 3 or you don't play any. I think 2 is not a bad number. Things like Droll and Lockbird and Ash Blossom, they're very prevalent right now. Ghost Ogre even too. But those hand traps, what do they do against you? The only thing you care about here is resolving card demise ASAP, and Mono Wado does give you the ability to do that. Do keep in mind that it does take up your core normal zone, which doesn't matter because all your spells grant you additional normals. But, if your opponent impermanences this and forces it to stay on the field, there's some really weird interactions. You know, they can impermanence it, force it to stay on the field, and then it'll be on the field for the next turn, so your True Dracos won't be able to resolve. It's kind of hit or miss. It's not even really relevant, but it can happen. But for the most part, I think Tuamano Awado seems to be standardized for this current point in time. Dynamite, I think that this card is the best True Draco card. There was a lot of discussions when this card came back to 1. A lot of people were like, holy shit, this card's better than Masterpiece. This card is very, very good for what it is. Do not underestimate what this card does to the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! There's a reason why it exists. This build is playing only 2 Ignis, 2 Majesty Maiden. So this is another one of those cases where you don't want to overstay your welcome, Majesty Maiden and Ignis both serve purposes, but you have multiple ways to get to them. You have multiple shuffling methods to return these back to the deck. Don't get too greedy with the way you play these, I think is honestly the best way to go about doing this. Don't overstay your welcome. I think 2 copies of each of these is fine. Maiden's not particularly all that great. I mean, she just recruits for these 2, just to kind of make sure that you can establish something. It is what it is, honestly. So, Card Demise, the best damn card in your deck. The reason that this deck has any sort of variance and is able to do anything, it's because of this. I'm still shocked that this card has dodged so many lists right now. Honestly, +2 is insane. And once again, one of the main reasons why True Draco is able to keep up in any sort of fashion in a metagame is because of this and Floodgates, but we'll get there. We're playing triple copies of Disciples. This has long since become a standardized norm in this deck. I know a lot of people like playing other variants, like the one that special summons in defense mode and things like that. I mean, you can, but for what we've seen here with this list, no more monsters. Spells, absolutely fine. Triple copies of Dragonic Diagram, absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be playing 3 copies of these. Best damn card in your deck, hands down. Honestly, why is this card still around too? Only 2 copies of Desires, 3 is too conflicting. This is the same logic in Sky Strikers at this current point in time. Once again, you overstay your welcome with certain cards. You Desires into Desires. It happens. It's bullshit. But don't push it. 2 is fine. You have no reason to want to just overpower Generalized Luck. Triple copies of Duality. Once again, excellent draw card in this deck. Fucking you have to play it. 2 copies of Terraforming. I think 3 is a bit too much. I will give that to Ryan. And I like that. Once again, same logic here. Don't overstay your welcome. I hate drawing Terraforming field spell. Or I hate drawing field spell, and then you draw Terraforming off of something dumb. Like, it actually happens a lot more than it should. And then we have 3 copies of True Draco Heritage. Best other damn card in the deck. Like, this is what brings the combo together. Just self-replacement draw effects. Alright, traps. So the reason why this deck is actually having any sort of success right now is because we've reached the pinnacle of brokenness where it goes in match and Rivalry of Warlords become relevant. Forcing your opponent's monsters off of the field, forcing what plays your opponent makes into check. You gotta remember, True Draco is the deck that literally loves Floodgates. So triple copies of Gozen, triple copies of Impermanence. You really can't play Ash Blossom in this deck, which honestly really sucks because, you know, conflict of interest here. But for the most part, you're still going to be using this in the same way you would use Ash to stop troublesome effects. Only 2 copies of Rivalry. You're still on 5 Floodgates, which is honestly enough. And then you've got 1 copy of Skill Drain, triple the Monarch's Erupt. Once again, 4 copies of Skill Drain, 5 means to stop your opponent from advancing their game state. No other real explanation needed here. And then True Draco Traps, 3 Apocalypse, 1 True King's Return. Nothing else to honestly really say about this. Trap lineup is pretty standard. The only thing I might consider maybe pushing out might be a Gozen. Just go 2-2, but I think it's fine the way it is. No extra deck. This card requires no extra deck for you to take full advantage of its effect. Side deck here, triple draw and Lockbird. Honestly, this is better against Goki. Not allowing them to continue on with their strategy is what I think he's going for here, which is excellent. Outside of that, I mean, if you're playing in a less heavy Goki format, maybe Ash Blossom might be something that you want to try, but for the most part, this works. Continuing on with that Goki hate, 3 Testicles. Excellent for breaking said boards, which is excellent. Triple Cosmic Cyclone. You can go Twin Twister depending on the route and the matchup that you need, but I don't think it really matters. Triple Evenly Matched, going second is your friend. Hey yo. 1 copy of Imperial Order. Fuck you, Sky Strikers. And 2 copies of Red Reboot for Altergeist. You shut down their field. Continue on along with your day. Like, no other explanation even needed for this. You know, you stop those pesky effects to make sure that your boards can go off. Nothing else really too spicy to say about this. So, That's all I got for this True Draco list, guys. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about this deck. And, well, guys, catch you on the flip side. Do Serenos. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.